Welcome to BFM's Morning Headlines. This is the 24th of December. It's Christmas Eve, and there's some cheer in our newspapers, not complete, but anyway, there we have it. New Straits Times, triple blast on Sunday, but business as usual the next day. Yes, apparently the southern town of Danok is extremely resilient. It's bouncing back from the weekend bombings. But the alternative media, the media on the web, will tell you that many visitors are fleeing and people are cancelling their trips to the southern town. So it's not all normal. The Star also says, has a story about Danok. Apparently it's a favourite of a lot of feral men. Now, here's the cause for cheer. It's the apex court, and the federal court has overturned the decision of lower courts to reject the election petitions in 4 constituencies. There you have it: Kerteh, Tetere, Bagandato, Tapa and Lubuk Merbau. Now, 3 of these constituencies are in the state of Perak, and all of them involved a winning Barisan Nasional candidate. Now, here in Lubuk Merbau, the BN candidate won by just 53 votes. In Kelantan, Tan Sri Anwar Musa won by slightly under 1,000 votes. So whatever irregularities that might have happened might have affected the results, could have affected the results. In Tapa, where the MIC candidate won by a handsome majority of almost 8,000 votes, that was an election that was marred with violence and the death of, and rather murder of, the aide to the PKR candidate. So that's something that we'll get into as the court has decided that these will be adjudicated. So we look forward to that. We're also looking forward, of course, to the People's Tribunal report, which is yet to come out. So Sina Harian has a much more banal story today. It's usually been good on the cost of living issue. Today it talks about some 49 million ringgit that in rebates that people haven't picked up from the toll concessionaires. So if you are one of those, you might want to get your rebate. But here's an interesting story. It's a story about homelessness in Kuala Lumpur. Despite the rather banal front page, there are actually some really interesting stories inside. On page 11, here we have it: Brunei and Kelantan get together on the question of hudud. Why? That's something I think will be worth investigating. So the Sultan of Brunei visits Kota Baru and says that it's going to help Kelantan implement hudud. How and why is a big question, but there it is, page 11. I think that's fascinating. Berita Harian has a story about the Nuri helicopter and whether it's still something that should be in service. Too many crashes, and they've had a history of crashes, and this is just the latest of many. So there you have it. The Malay Mail has Dr. Mahathir, always one for stirring controversy. Here it is. Here's Dr. Mahathir. What does he want to know? He wants to know, are there ghosts and where do they come from? No, he doesn't. What he's trying to do is to criticize the obsession that people have with the supernatural. He claims that it's something that the Malay community is particularly given to, but I don't think so. I think, in fact, we look around the world, there is an obsession with the supernatural, and it's evident in popular culture. Just think of the Twilight series. Also, we're coming to the end that time of the year when newspapers do end-of-year reviews, and here you have these stories of children and crime that shocked the nation. If you remember those, and that's always interesting. Utusan Malaysia has more on the Nuri, but also this story, Himpunan 31 Disember dibantah, and this apparently is follow-up from a Facebook posting calling for people to gather at Dataran Merdeka and bring down the government. Now, this of course is somebody's pipe dream, but at any rate, there has been a call, and the police take Facebook postings very seriously, and these newspapers also take Facebook postings very seriously. I think they're just conducting a low-intensity psychological warfare against the population, just keeping everybody anxious. So that's the phrase for the day. Low-intensity psychological warfare. So that's a rather long phrase. So low-intensity psychological warfare. The Sun has a story on a drug bust. These rather routine. The question is whether they've gotten the brains behind these drugs or they've gotten just the low-level workers. In the inside of the Sun, there are some stories that are worth looking at that are getting some play on the media, on the internet media, and that of course is the ongoing saga of the heat. Now what we know is this heat has come back to say that in fact did comply with the demands of the Home Ministry in terms of change of its scope of coverage, but that hasn't been given as much play in the print media. On page 11, we have a story. It's a statement by the Serdang MP Ong Kian Ming about incinerator technology and the company that's been given the job of operating 4 incinerators. Now the question is, what kind of track record do they have? According to him, none at all. They have been involved in many incinerator projects and have been involved in delays, and that these delays have been noted in the National Audit Report. So why did they get the tender? Well, it might have to do with who owns the company. According to Ong Kian Ming, it's got to do with somebody who was high up in the military. So there you have it. That's another interesting barometer of Malaysian news. I want to end with Harian Metro, always something to think about, food for thought. Here it is, Jertan Hujung Nyawa, a rather sad story of a man who died in agony after his car burst into flames, crashing into a trailer. Witness accounts that he was alive and screaming. Now, is that something that's going to please his family? I don't think so. It's not going to be comforting news. But perhaps those are the facts, and Harian Metro sees no reason not to put that on its front page. So there you have it. That's all we have. It's Christmas Eve, 24th of December. I'm Sharaad, and you've been watching BFM's Morning Headlines, BFM 89.9.